What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Everyone has asked me to do a video about this Rachel situation, and I am going to be honest. I had no idea who she was. I had no idea really what was going on. But for you, I spent the last hour and a half watching countless content on this to try to kind of wrap my head around what's been going on. And I wanted to make this video because unfortunately, I'm in a pretty unique situation to talk about this. But the reality is, there's a little bit of everything in this story. There's Discord leaks, there's financial issues, there's community ramifications. And to be fair, watching this from afar as it's practically over, it honestly highlights that all creators, in a way, have kind of made similar mistakes. It's just not all that often that one creator makes all of the mistakes at once. And it's not an envious position. I've also been there. Sometimes, in trying to apologize for something, you continue to say all the wrong things. Sometimes the best thing to do is just move forward and say nothing at all. Because you're never going to make it right with every single person. And that's the toughest lesson to learn. Because that's what you want to do. But at the core of this is how we treat people, how we treat our viewers, how we treat our members. Because a lot of people will sit here and accuse me. As a matter of fact, someone was in my comment section today asking why I don't share my numbers anymore. First of all, I'm proud of those numbers, whether it's 2,000, 20,000, 200,000. Is it easy to get caught up in those numbers, the views, the revenue, the engagement? Of course. But it's also imperative that you understand none of that exists without you, the person watching this video, the person that takes time out of their day to comment, to share, to support. That's why all of this works, you understand. If it's not for the viewer, I'm just talking to myself. And when you start acting like the audience doesn't matter, then you kind of lose the reason you're making content in the first place. Now, to expand upon Rachel's apology, personally, there was a lot of mixed messages there. Okay, there's some things that I've come to understand. Number one, she made an agreement with Emily. She then struggled how to maintain that relationship, whether it was going to be business, whether it was going to be personal. She struggled how to handle the payment. And then all of this kind of unravels on her channel in real time. Now, eventually, she donated the ad revenue from the video to Beck, which is great. But at that point, just like we talked about, your viewers, the ones that should matter to that individual, you've seen their hurt. You've seen they're frustrated because they've watched as you deal with, honestly, sensitive topics, real people's lives. A lot of Girl World extends beyond content and goes into someone's personal experience. And the reality is, whether you agree with it or not, if you're paying someone for their story, then that agreement has to mean something. You have to be upfront, you have to be clear, and you have to be fair. And that goes hand in hand with telling your audience, hey, I paid for this. I reached out to this individual. Because otherwise, it looks like you're just having this desire to profit off someone else's pain. And I know the first thing that's going to be said there is, well, what a hypocrite he is, because he profits off all this as well. I've said many times, and I'll say now, if you think coming online in Girl World and saying that someone is a hypocrite is some groundbreaking revelation, if you think any creator in this space should really care about being called a hypocrite, I don't know what to tell you. Sure, we're all hypocrites. When you make the amount of content that girl world creators do, at some point you're going to say something or do something hypocritical. It's the nature of the content. But I think really what stuck out to me more than anything is the pattern that we see across these communities. Right? So many channels I've seen in this space get upset because a Discord falls apart. Discord messages, Discord audio somehow gets leaked. And then to take that same hypocritical stance, all of a sudden those people are concerned about their privacy. And sure, you can go ahead and say it. The same people like myself that profit off private messages or DMs from Amber Lynn or Chantal or whoever and turn that into content have to deal with someone else doing it to them. It doesn't make it right, but it just continues the cycle. Taking something that was meant to be private, repackaging it, and turning it into views, which turn it into income. And in the end, the people who lose are usually the ones who were being honest, the ones that thought they were speaking in confidence, the ones that were trying to be vulnerable in the first place. So to me, in watching all of this kind of unpack itself, the bigger question became, what happens when monetization and money start driving everything? When do you stop creating because you care about your audience or you care about the topic or if you have a passion for what you're doing and you're just trying to cash in? I can tell you that the first person to notice it is you, the creator. You're just going through the motions. I've certainly done it. If you think that I've woke up every single day, if you think that every time I turn on a microphone, I can't wait to talk about whatever I needed to talk about, you're wrong. Now, there comes a time where as a creator, you do get burnout. You probably start to just go through the motions, but there also will be a time that your audience will realize you're doing that. They lose the connection, they lose the respect, and your numbers diminish. You know, losing monetization hurts, but it's also a wake-up call. It makes you realize that at the end of the day, the only thing you can consistently count on would be the relationship you cultivate with your viewers, with your members, the people that stick around and support you even when there isn't an advertisement. So, honestly, in watching all of this, it made me think perhaps this is a good time for some of us to look at what's actually going on. You know, remember that honestly, there are actual people involved in this. You're giving your time to watch someone. And that, in and of itself, deserves respect. I understand the easy answer is we can all do better. We should all do better, whether it's being honest about what we're paying someone or if we're paying someone for a story. Just remember, sometimes there's more to what you're watching than what the person is saying to you. Anyway, that's all I really had to say about it. I hope that there's some reflection. I know for me there was. I know losing monetization for that period of time was humbling. Absolutely humbling. I don't want to say that I was taking it for granted, but you really learn the mantra of easy come, easy go. It can be here today. It can be gone tomorrow. It can be back again. It's a very unique circumstance. Thanks for sticking around. Everyone that did. Again, the ones who watch, the ones that support. Whether you like my content, whether you hate my content, whether you like Creator X, you like Creator Y. Understand, at the end of the day, you are the only reason any of this even exists. Whether you're watching Amber, whether you're watching Rachel, whether you're watching Chantal, whether you're watching Salah, or whether you're watching one of multiple reaction channels, if you don't click these videos, then none of this ecosphere even happens. Love to know your thoughts on it. Appreciate you watching it. Be back as soon as I can with more commentary.